Following a marathon speech by Republican Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, the U.S. House narrowly passed President Biden's Build Back Better plan on Friday. The legislation would see $2.2 trillion spent on battling climate change, expanding health care, and much more over the next decade. Joining me now live to discuss the potential impacts of the bill and its chances of making it through an evenly divided Senate is Dr. Ferri. He is an economist with Insight Economics. Dr. Ferri, thanks for being here.
Rudaba, great to be here.
So this is one of the most consequential bills in decades, especially for President Biden. It is a legacy piece of legislation, over $2 trillion at stake. If the Senate makes any changes, the House will then have to go back and vote on it again. Do you expect the Senate to make changes to the legislation? And if so, what?
I do, for sure. So the Senate, as you said already, is a lot closer than the House. And it's amazing. There's enormous power with Joe Manchin and also with Kristen Sinema. And kind of their needs are going to definitely force some concessions within the Senate.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you about that. West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, he thinks that spending more money during an inflationary period will be harmful to the economy. He signaled that he will try to scrap the four weeks of paid leave for most Americans. In your view, will this ease inflation or make it worse?
Well, Rudaba, so I'll just tell you, as a parent with two really young kids, having just gone through two births with a 2-year-old and also with a 2.5-month-old boy at home, I can tell you we are way behind as a country on having some sort of federal parental leave policy. And, it's already trimmed down from 12 weeks down to 4 weeks, and that may go all the way after the negotiations in the Senate. I think the thing about this bill to recognize is that while there are, about $2 trillion in spending, that's over the course of the next 10 years. So it's really only $200 billion per year, which is actually a pretty small amount. And there's a lot built in terms of new revenue sources that will balance out the extra spending from this bill.
And you mentioned Arizona Senator Kyrsten Sinema. She's also a wild card in all this. She's likely to scrap her party's own efforts to raise taxes on the wealthiest individuals and the biggest businesses in the states. Would that trickle down to everyone, as she says, or would it make us less competitive?
Well, trickle-down economics is something that, was talked about a lot during the 80s. And I think what we've seen so much of, especially in the last couple of decades with the massive fortunes built at the top, is there's really a trickle-up effect. With taxes, I saw a report a few months ago from the head of the IRS that says he thinks there's about $1 trillion a year in avoided taxes by the wealthy. And this plan, at least in my view as an independent economist, it doesn't even do enough to get some of that money, that wealthy people are avoiding, to get it actually back into the system.
So let's talk a little bit about what the current bill does include. Money for child care subsidies, universal pre-K, elder care, low-income housing. It would expand Medicare to cover hearing aids. It would boost options for low-income Americans to buy insurance through Medicaid, as well as roads, bridges, and broadband. This would obviously benefit the lower-income Americans, but what about the middle class, and what about the richest Americans?
Well, one of the nice things about this bill is when you look at the ingredients of the bill, it really reflects a lot of the values of our country, a lot of democratic values, a lot of Republican values. There's family stuff in there. You talked about universal pre-K, which a lot of countries do have, and that's an area where the United States lacks. The healthcare issues, really investing in families, children, education, and healthcare, which I think is something both parties should be able to get behind.
And this would also put roughly $550 billion into programs designed to curb climate change. Another thing you might not be able to see the immediate effects of, but for the people who have lost their homes or they've had to pay for the damage because of storms or hurricanes or fires, this could actually make a big difference.
I think so. And when you think about the 10-year horizon of this bill, and again, only about $200 billion per year, which the $2 trillion figure on the top line seems like a lot, but when you amortize it over the next 10 years, it's not as big as that $2 trillion number makes it sound. But what it is, it's a long-term sustained investment, both in children and families and also in climate. What kind of regular Americans are going to see is support to buy electric vehicles and also support to install solar on your house.
All right, Dr. Ferri, we will check back in with you again as this process plays out. Thank you for your time tonight.
Rudaba, thank you and happy holidays.
You as well.
Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.